Welcome to the Viking Age podcast, the official podcast of the VikingAge.com. My name is Chris Schad. I write for the Vikings as well as Bring Me the News, Zone Coverage, and the Brookings Register. My co-host is Adam Patrick, who is the managing editor of the Viking Age. And we do this every Monday and Thursday right here on the Viking Age YouTube channel. And we're on Apple and Spotify the very next day. But no matter how you consume us, don't forget to rate, comment, like, and subscribe so you never miss a new episode and we can spread the word to the masses. Adam! The Vikings are back! They're back! 1913 over the Chicago Bears. Sure, it was ugly, but Adam, you got to start somewhere. The Bears are an NFL team. They have players that have made an NFL roster. Yeah. And the Vikings have historically struggled at Soldier Field, and now they won. And guess what? This Vikings schedule is just clearing us for takeoff, baby. I mean, I don't see a loss on the schedule from here on out, to be honest with you, after yesterday. I mean, Christian McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel are out next week, probably, because offensive genius Kyle Shanahan ran them into the ground. And, I mean, how exciting is it to be a fan of the Minnesota Vikings right now, Adam?
I mean, a win is a win, really. You know, when it boils down to it, doesn't matter if it's by 1 point, by 70 points, by 3 points, a win is a win. And this team, I think good things are on their way. I think good things are on their way. I don't know if it's going to be next week, next month, 2024, 2025, but good things are on their way.
Well, you know why good things are on the way? Because this man right here, the great number 8,
Todd Bauman,
Todd Bauman, right? Kirk freaking Cousins, baby, because he led this game against the Chicago Bears. 21 of 31 passes, 181s and a touchdown. Yeah, Justin Jefferson wasn't out there. He could have Kirk Cousins could have went to the Soldier Field and just been like, Justin Jefferson's not here. We don't have a chance. Like, what's Kirk supposed to do? You know what he did? He won the damn game. Okay. He went out there, guns a-blazing. Kirk Cousins went and won this football game against the Chicago Bears. And you know what? Here's the thing that I don't think people realize about Kirk Cousins. You just can't go get another Kirk Cousins. Do you want to know some of the quarterbacks that Kirk Cousins threw for more yards yesterday? Do you want to know?
Sure.
Aaron Rodgers, Joe Montana, Steve Young, Troy Aikman, Dan Marino, Johnny Unitas. Didn't throw over 185. I mean, and again, an NFL defense.
Johnny Manziel.
Like all these people, like people are just crapping on the Bears. These guys made an NFL roster. What are you doing at home? You didn't make an NFL roster. Kirk Cousins just played against a whole bunch of guys on an NFL roster, and he won just in his blood. Everybody is going off right now because Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah went to South Bend and he checked out Caleb Williams. You know what he did? He threw 3 picks. He threw three picks. Like what kind of Kirk didn't throw 3 picks yesterday. No. I didn't know. Drake May, he only completed 50% of his passes. Kirk completed 60% of his passes against an NFL
57.
defense. Yeah. I mean, you cannot let go of what you have. And you know what I would have said if I was Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah and whoever else was at North Carolina? I would have asked them, can you take me higher?
Ryan Grigson.
Can you take me to a golden place? Can you take me higher to a place where blind men see? Okay, because they can't. They can't because Kirk Cousins did. What do you like that? Because I like that. I like that a lot. I like how that tastes, actually.
Yeah. Kirk Cousins he only had 181 yards passing yesterday, but that was more than the 87 yards passing he had against the Bears in 2021, which they also won.
And he did it while Mike Zimmer hated him.
Yeah, that's 100 yards more than he had in that game. So, I mean, progress.
What's he supposed to do there?
Progress.
His head coach hated him, and he still threw for 87 yards. And you know what happened in that game, too? He won the game.
Yep.
Kirko freaking chains, man. He's back. You want to know something else? Brian Flores fixed the defense, man. Brian Flores, last 3 weeks has been pretty good. As Patrick Mount, you know why Taylor Swift didn't go to the Vikings game a couple weeks ago? Everybody wants to know, why didn't Taylor Swift? Taylor Swift's been everywhere. She's here. She's like Roy Kent, right? She was afraid what was going to happen to Travis Kelce. And you know what happened in that game?
Yeah, she got hurt.
Travis Kelce got hurt.
Turf months.
Okay. She would have been up in the suite and she'd been like, oh my God, my Trevi, what's going on? Trevi's hurt. And you know what? They let him off easy. Like they could have hurt him even more if they wanted to, but you know what? We're Minnesota nice here. We don't do that because if Travis Kelce was on the sideline the rest of the game and we would have beat the Chiefs, they would have been like, well, you only won because Travis Kelce was there. We're like, come on back in. You could even score a touchdown. We don't care. We're the Vikings, baby. DJ Wanham with the scoop and score a couple weeks ago, right? And this week it's Jordan Hicks. Jordan Hicks out there getting scoops and scores. Brian Murphy with a truly athletic interception.
I remember.
Okay. Yeah. I just want, what did you think of that play? I mean, I thought that is going to be shown for years in Vikings folklore.
Do you remember the name of the quarterback who threw it?
I think he was in section 403 to start the game. But yeah, it doesn't matter. He made an NFL roster, Adam. Like, you're sitting there just laughing. Like, this is an NFL team that the Vikings beat yesterday, and everybody is just sitting there foo-fooing this. They're 2-4. Their schedule has them ready to take off. And I mean, that quarterback you're making fun of had nothing to lose, and I'm very offended that you did that. You know how offended I am? I'm gonna do the gritty while you defend yourself. Just,
oh no.
See, Ray, my buddy once, he was like in a wedding and everybody did it. I don't even think this is gritty. I'm altering the gritty, baby. I'm mixing a little dude love in here. Hey.
This is going off the rails. Yeah.
We live off the rails, baby.
Tyson Bagent is the kid that came in with the full sleeve. Looked like Kyle Slaughter 2.0 out there. Just
I thought it was the quarterback from Remember the Titans, honestly.
Yeah, right. In
Sunshine.
College, he went against powerhouses such as Southern Connecticut State, Slippery Rock, Kutztown, and the Colorado School of the Mines. So I mean, the Vikings are lucky to get by a guy like that because you just don't know what to prepare for when someone like that comes in the game. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're laughing, but I mean, this team is back.
I'm just happy.
We got Creed in the locker room.
I'm just so happy after the win yesterday.
I believe through my purple colored glasses, I see everything. And you know what? Let's just talk about some of the other things that we should be thankful for as Vikings fans right now. We have the best offensive line we've ever had in a decade.
Yeah,
finally,
you're not even joking.
No, finally, our hero Kirk Cousins has the offensive line we've always dreamed of. I mean, it's truly a great time. Jordan Addison, he's a stud. He had another touchdown. I mean, everybody's talking about Adam Thielen. I mean, Jordan Addison's looking pretty good to me. TJ Hawkinson, he had another drop.
He caught some passes on third down, but he didn't get the first down, but he still caught him.
Yeah. And he had 6 catches for 50 yards. And then there was
$2 million per catch.
Yeah. And then there was Alexander Madison.
Yeah.
Who
he's a running back.
I can't do this anymore. Okay. I can't. I can't do this. Alexander Madison. Let's talk about Alexander Madison.
That's where you draw the line.
Let's talk about this entire game, shall we? Because I mentioned a lot of positive things, right? The offensive line. I mean, basically, that's the positive thing out of this game. But everything else, I don't know how you could sit there and watch that and believe this is a team that's about to take off. And especially in the backfield. Alexander Mattison got 22 touches yesterday, and he turned them into like 74 yards. Because we're still pretending he's an RB1, right? We're still sitting there being like, oh, yeah, Alexander Mattison, how many fantasy points you going to score this year, man? You're taking over for Dalvin Cook. The guy can't run. Like he can do a little bit, right? But, I mean, he has absolutely no burst. He can't block. He can't catch the ball. He's got hands like Rudy Gobert. I want to see a 3D photo, actually, with Troy Williamson, Alexander Mattison, and TJ Hawkinson. Make it happen, Twitter. Like, this team sucks. Okay.
This is like when Seth Rollins and what's Riddle were in the split screen, and after the interview, like Rollins snapped and was like, "Yeah, you can't go home because you're a
talking about my family. Let's talk about your family."
Super serious.
Oh, that's right. You don't have one.
Chris just went from Chris freaking Schad to serious Chris Schad over here. You want to know a funny stat? Alexander Mattison has more rushing attempts this season than Bijan Robinson. Yeah, that's a real stat.
Oh my God. I can't take it. I can't take it. I can't take it in the backfield. Like Matthew Collar, as he's like, is he Marshall Faulk or something? And we just don't know about it. Like, why? Like, this is like for baseball fans out there. I will explain this. The Twins signed Joey Gallo last offseason, and they wanted him like he's like big power guy. The only problem is he makes contact as much as a little leaguer. So he goes up there and he strikes out in 3 pitches, making $13 million a year. And they still just forced him into the lineup, like up until the bloody end. We're like, you have a bruise on your foot. No, I don't. I'm healthy. Oh, yes, you do, because we don't want to do this anymore. Like, this is what Alexander Mattison is. Like, they've just been hell-bent on this thing. And I know that Dalvin Cook sucks. I mean, even the Jets are trying to get rid of him at this point, right? They're like, yeah, this Breece Hall guy, like, he's pretty good. And like Robert Saleh actually said, I don't understand why he wants to sign here. So,
do the Vikings sign him?
Huh?
Do the Vikings sign him if he gets released? Dalvin Cook?
I think they have to have that conversation. I mean, honestly, even like I'd probably go to him and be like, hey, man, you just got cut. We're desperate, man. Like, we'll give you $2 million the rest of the season. Yeah. And like, because here's the thing. When Dalvin Cook gets a lane, it's a 60-yard touchdown.
Yeah.
When Alexander Mattison gets a lane, it's a 5-yard gain or something. He is like Leroy Horde. Like, if you remember him, where just like you need 3. Yeah, he's not that good. You're absolutely right. Leroy Horde could actually pass protect.
That's disrespectful to Leroy Horde.
I'm sorry. I will not besmirch the name of Leroy Horde again. But I mean, like, again, this whole offseason, it was just like, why? Because Dalvin Cook was making $14 million. So if you brought Dalvin Cook back, were all the GMs going to laugh at Kwesi and be like, there's the idiot that paid a running back. Look at him. He's so dumb. And then, you have teams like the Falcons who draft a running back in the top 10 and don't use him. Not just a running back, like a legitimate offensive weapon that you could probably play at wide receiver.
Do they use any of the players they drafted? Because they drafted Kyle Pitts, Bijan Robinson, Drake London.
Yeah.
Do they use any of those guys?
No, not really. Jonnu Smith, though. Let's throw it to him. That's a great idea. Like, I don't know, man. Like this. When Jordan Hicks returned the interception was that a fumble?
Yep.
When he returned the fumble yesterday, I actually texted my friend and I just said, this sucks. Like, it does. Cause like, I know like people kind of complain about like, what you want style points with your wins or whatever. But I mean, I would like to see my team look functional against a team that is an NFL team. Like, I've been joking, but also is not an NFL team, if that makes sense.
No,
like, it's just like
terrible.
And I know I see it coming because I see the avenue. I can see that on the schedule, you have the 49ers who lost Christian McCaffrey and Debo Samuel yesterday. And we'll go through it in
And
just
Trent
a
Williams.
second. Yeah. And Trent Williams got hurt too.
Yeah, he was in a walking boot yesterday when he left.
I saw he nearly threw his helmet in like roid rage, but
oh yeah, that was before the game. Then he hurt his ankle. He came out, went back in, but then he left with a walking boot. I think he's day to day. They said.
So
he's not gonna be 100%.
Offensive genius Kyle Shanahan has once again run everybody to the
Good
ground.
thing he drafted that kicker so he'd have more depth, huh?
Yeah. Well, the kicker is probably going to pull a hamstring soon, so then they'll need another one.
Man.
Let's move on. I'll get you more involved into this. There's part of me in the back of my mind like you're just ranting and screaming, and Adam's probably just sitting there going like, "Yes, go ahead."
All I wanted to say was, I will give the Vikings a little slack yesterday because for whatever reason, whenever they go to Chicago, they just don't play well. Like they don't play well on offense. Their defense is usually okay, but for whatever reason in that stadium, whether it's the surface or just the atmosphere, like I looked it up the other day, I think since Kirk Cousins got there, they've averaged about 18 points a game every time they've been there, and they scored 19 yesterday. So they were right about average to what happens when they go to Chicago. It's just a weird place, and it's a divisional game, and they're usually closer. I feel like I'm making up excuses for them right now, but yeah, it wasn't a good performance. But once again, they got like if this happened like week 12 and they were, I don't know, they were 5-4 heading into the game. This made them, that doesn't even make sense. They were 5-5 heading into the game, and this made them 6-5. Would we be so angry about their performance or furious or uninspired, I guess, or we would just be like they grinded it out, they got a win, they're still in the playoff? Like I think would that have made a difference?
I think so, but I mean, at that point, you're not sitting there and you're not like, "Hey, we get a shot at Caleb Williams or Drake May.
Right.
Like, let's lose this game." I think you're on to something there where if you're in the hunt, go get the playoff spot at that point. Like, yeah. I'm not gonna hope for this team to tank at like 7-6 because it's like, all right, you're close enough. Go get it, because if you don't get it, you're gonna be 7-10. And
they do still have the number 7 pick right now, so that's it's not terrible. They could trade up with that,
and that's striking distance. Right. Granted, we don't know what Arizona's going to do. I mean, do they want to keep Kyler Murray? Do they, want to draft Drake May? Or
if you're the Broncos, you gotta draft somebody, right?
Oh, you gotta smash that draft button like as soon as
and the Giants
Drake May's on the board. Yes.
What about the Giants?
Ed Donatel ain't coming to save that team,
he is
man.
Public enemy number 1 for the Giants.
That every Viking fan knew that was a mistake too. They're like, it's Ed Donatel, it's not Daniel Jones. Everybody in New York's like, Danny Dimes, yeah, he's like Vanilla Vic, baby, yeah.
Because how much better? I don't know if you watched any of the game last night, but how much better did the Giants look with Tyrod Taylor as their quarterback? Because he's semi-competent.
Right,
he can run an offense. That's all they need. And
if they could only get their time management down at the end of a half, they'd be in business.
Yeah,
that
was bad. But
like even Brian, maybe that's like the thing. Like all the coaches that were like heartthrobs last year are just like, I don't know, screen to Madison, screen.
Kevin O'Connell, Brian Dable, Doug Peterson. There's Jaguars still doing pretty good.
Jaguars are fine.
But they're in the South. They could lose like 10 games and win the division. So yeah, it's fun. Year 2, the sophomore slump for sure.
So I think I'll tell you this. I think that yesterday's game was a trap for Vikings fans, and that's why I come on with this overly psychotic, optimistic shtick. Somebody actually called me Eeyore today too, and I was just kind of like, yeah. Wild fan, because I'm like, when your general manager doesn't like plan for injuries,
what do they have? No money?
So much, so they have $40,000 in cap space.
What?
Actually, I can look up the exact number.
Can you buy a hockey stick with later?
No, not exactly. But yeah, they bought out Zach Parise and Ryan Suter a couple years ago, and now like the penalties are up to like I think $14 million roughly Maybe it's a
Oh,
little
wow.
bit less,
So it's
but
like that. It's like dead cap.
yeah. And I think the NHL salary cap is like 82 million or something like that.
That's higher than I
So
thought it was, actually.
that's very high, which makes signing your mediocre veterans even dumber. But yeah, they did it. So Jared Spurgeon is out with an upper body injury. He's a defenseman, and now Matt Boldy is out with an upper body injury. So the Wild cannot call anybody up from their minor league system to replace them because they would be over the salary cap. So they might have to play down a forward if somebody else gets banged up while Matt Boldy is out. So
They have such
but
a
they
low
have enough grit to play through injuries. So
They have such a low amount of money that they can't even call someone up from the minor leagues.
right.
That's
And our friend Marissa Voss actually was on the show discussing it. And she's like, yeah, they have less salary cap space than I make in a year. So I'm actually looking at it right
you
now.
need to start. You need to start
This
a
is
GoFundMe for the Wild.
Well, we need to start a GoFundMe for the NHL so they can make enough money to raise the cap a little bit more.
82.
Let's see current.
That's higher than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, current cap space. They have $52,000 according to Cap Friendly right now. So
Could sign
that's
a long
fun.
snapper.
Yes. The Vikings, though. So the 49ers lost to the Browns. We were just talking about those injuries right now. The Vikings schedule actually manageable from here on out. You have the 49ers. Tough, but Brock Purdy looked like someone ripped out his circuit board late in that game.
I want to say the Niners haven't won in Minnesota since like 1990, something around there. So it's been a while.
It's going to be awkward when they cut over to Kyle Shanahan during the game. And he's just sitting there like this towards Kirk, just like, I miss you. I mean, hey, coach, what's the play call? Huh? Oh, Kirk Cousins 8 left. What?
He was born in Minneapolis. Kyle Shanahan was.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Sad this state produced.
I don't know why. I feel like the Broncos must have been playing or the Niners or Broncos must have been playing the Vikings when he was born, I guess. Because I don't know why else he would be in Minnesota. Because his dad never coached for the Vikings, right?
I don't believe so.
He was with the Niners, Raiders, and Broncos. And then the Washington team.
And the rest was history. So after the Niners, they go to the Packers, and Jordan Love doesn't look like a Hall of Famer, so we don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, but what about that kid who has a higher ceiling than Justin Jefferson? What's his name?
Christian Watson.
Yeah. How's he doing?
He's got a hamstring. He's master of hamstring injuries too. So they have that.
I'm running so fast.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Falcons, we already talked about this. Arthur Smith has Bijan Robinson, and he doesn't know he exists.
That team has like so much talent, I feel like, and they just don't know what to do with it.
People love Arthur Smith too. It's weird. Like Pat McAfee loves everyone. Like he could have
because he has a mustache. He's like, oh, he has great mustache,
and he's got a dry sense of humor. Where he's like, "Who's the guy behind you?" Oh, it's my brother. That's funny. So then they come home. They get the Saints. They could get Justin Jefferson back for that game. They go to Denver. I almost booked a trip to that game, by the way. I was thinking of, when I went to Seattle, I'm like, traveling by myself is kind of fun. I think I'll go to the Denver for the Vikings game. And then like the first 3 games happen. I'm like, I'm going to go to the Royal Rumble instead and watch LA Knight win it. Yeah.
That game's supposed to be on Sunday night. I don't think that's happening.
No, I don't think so either. You know what? I think, and they have a Monday night flex rule for
Bears and Vikings.
Yeah, Bears Vikings too. So that's probably going to be a Sunday game. So I mean, they could win that one, and then they go to Las Vegas. They can win that game. I mean, Vegas isn't as tough as like the old Oakland Coliseum.
They're 3-3. They're kind
of They are. Not as intimidating though. Like Oakland Coliseum, they had like barbed wire surrounding their stadium, and like they had like
for good reason.
They had like armrests like broken off. I swear somebody probably used it as a shank in the black hole or something.
The barbed wire were the armrests. So.
Gotcha. Yes.
But yeah, they have Devontae Adams, who's known to just destroy the Vikings in his career. But Garoppolo just got hurt, so I don't know. Are they gonna light the place on fire with Brian Hoyer from now on? I don't know.
Like, here's the thing: the Vikings have an outside shot of like winning all these games. Like, you could see it happening. And on the flip, like, even if they, so like, if they are 9-4 or 8-5 by the time they go to Cincinnati, we know it's not good. I mean, they wouldn't have, they would have beaten the Niners without their key players.
Yeah.
Outside of that, they would have, if there was this college football, they'd have no quality wins, right? And some people are like, oh, it doesn't matter. It's the NFL. It does matter because you have to face a quality team at the end in order to get to the Super Bowl, which should be your goal. It shouldn't be winning the division. It shouldn't be winning anything. And even in this case, the Vikings would have to go to Cincinnati on December 17th. Then they play the Lions 2 out of the final 3 games, who look absolutely awesome right now.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. I doubted them, and I shouldn't have. I should never doubt Dan Campbell. So I'm sorry for that. I don't want him to come hunt me down and offer me to drink 12 Red Bulls with him or anything like that.
I don't think Dan Campbell would be a guy who would fight you over that. He's like, let's go talk about this. And like, next thing you know,
you just have 14 Red Bulls?
Is your heart going to explode? Oh, yeah. Don't worry about it. My friend Renee actually had a theory that we had on the old Homer Horn podcast that Dan Campbell got his job because he chugged an entire tower of beer as like a bet. So like,
for sure,
I bet you can't do that. And he's like, you're on.
And
like, oh no, we have to hire this.
And
guy.
He probably didn't feel it. He probably didn't even get a buzz.
He's like, can we get another one?
Yeah. The Lions are really good right now. I will say it is October. It is 6 games in the season. A lot can happen between now and then. And we know the Lions do not have good luck when it comes to playing the sport of football. So, although I'm giving them credit now, there is a lot of football to be played. Injuries can happen. Like, oh man, I was gonna say, what if Jared Goff gets hurt then? But then Teddy Bridgewater comes in, and then they're fine.
He's gonna pull the Shawn Michaels. I'm sorry, I love you.
Yeah, but yeah, what I was gonna say when you were going over the schedule was, and when you were like, the Vikings can get back in this. Who cares? Like, yes. I am really at that point. Who cares? I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to do this never-ending cycle of let's get back into it so we can sneak into the playoffs and lose in the first round, or maybe pull off an upset in the first round and then get killed in the second round. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. I want either drastic changes to happen, and the Vikings, if they have to be bad to get better, fine. But I'm just tired. It's like we talked about this. This is Groundhog Day all over again. Like, we see this story every year, whether they start well and lose a couple games in a row, or they start poorly and win a couple games in a row. It's the same thing every year. I don't want to do it anymore. I'm still gonna root for the team, but like, it is extremely hard this season to be like enthusiastic or get excited about. I'm getting choked up.
Yeah.
Get excited about a Vikings game. Like, at this point, am I still going to be excited? Like, come Monday or whatever, am I still going to be like, yes, let's watch them beat the 49ers? Yes, I'm still going to be like that. But like, and then they win, and then they're still 3-4. Like, I'm tired of it.
There are a couple of things wrong with the whole they can get back into it stake. And the first is, if they do get into it, how far are they going to go? Like, do you want to get blasted in the first round again, and it's going to cost you 3 first-round picks to go get a quarterback?
In the draft?
Yeah. Like, I don't know. Like, if this team, like, if they went out and they just whooped the Bears, like the Bears wanted them to several times. They're like, dude, please. They had 1 first down in the second half. Like, Kirk Cousins literally, he threw the ball backwards for, like, it was just like, and like, it just went out of bounds, like, and that should have been recovered by the Bears. But I mean, it just like,
they got away with one there.
The excuses for Kirk Cousins are dwindling because, he was without Justin Jefferson yesterday. Okay. He has called this team the most talented, like, offensive weapons he's ever had. So, they've gotten upgrades at receiver and tight end, and they thought they had one at running back with Cam Akers, but now they won't use them because
offensive line.
The greatest offensive line Kirk Cousins has played with in his tenure here. And we're still doing this. We're still not able to blow out opponents. We're still not able to, score points in the fourth quarter when they need them. And I know he had 8 fourth quarter comebacks. Most of those occurred in the first half of last season. Yeah. Like it just, I mean, you can frame your Indianapolis Colts or whatever. I'm tired of this. I am tired of fighting online with Kirk stands. Not that I do a lot.
I think they're getting tired of it.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like, how much longer do you want to do this? It's not even fun to follow this team. And, I get a little nervous with what happened with the scouting trips, with Caleb Williams throwing 3 picks, with Drake May looking okay. But I mean, Tez Walker was the reason North Carolina won that game. I'm tired of Kirk going up and during press conferences and like dodging how bad he played with like Garrett Bradbury really wanted to play Creed. You want to know something about Creed? Alter Bridge is better. Oh, and on this day, I see clearly that Kirk Cousins is not the answer to the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I think the Kirk stands or whatever, Crusaders, whatever you want to call them, I think they're getting tired of it too. Like, you don't see as much. There's like only a few left, like, who are every day constantly like trying to like stick up for him, and like even the people that rooted for him for a long time are just like, we got to move on. Like they're like, we like you, Kirk, we love you, you're just a silly guy or whatever, but it's just it's not working out. It's not you, it's me. Excuse, when
he's not part of the problem, but he's not part of the solution.
Exactly.
Either.
He doesn't lose you games most of the time, but he doesn't win you games. Like all the people who over the last few years with Justin Jefferson on the team who have been like, there have been a few who have been like, oh, Justin Jefferson would have those numbers if Kirk Cousins wasn't his quarterback. What numbers did Kirk Cousins have yesterday without Justin Jefferson? Because I believe he threw for under 200 yards. So who helps who here? And before that, he had Stephon Diggs and Adam Thielen, who are right now tied for second in the league in catches right now together. Yeah. So he's had some talent to throw to. And then yesterday, Jordan Addison's talented. TJ Hawkinson should be playing better. KJ Osborne, he's not. He's in trade rumors, which is hilarious to me. But
we'll give you a 6th-round pick,
conditional in 2026. But yeah, like it's coming to the end, and the reports of, I think it was recently, what was it, Jay Glazer, who was like, I think they want him back, which is nothing that anyone has been hearing. But he also said that he heard that in training camp, which is what seems like 5 months ago now.
And that makes sense when you think about it.
Yeah, when everyone's happy and excited, you don't have 4 losses on your record. I have to feel like Kevin O'Connell is getting frustrated with maybe some of the things Kirk is doing this year, or not doing. And there's only so much he can do, because at this point, a lot of people are pointing to Kevin O'Connell and play calling and things not working. Kirk deserves some of that blame too for things not working as well. He's not looking downfield as much this year. He's looking for CJ Ham and Alexander Madison way more than he probably should, which is hilarious because we keep talking about this is the best offensive line he's ever played with. He should be just standing back there, having tons of time, just go through all of his progressions, not be, a deer in the headlights, and just find the right guy or wait for someone to get open. But he can't, because it's not in his system. He's not used to having that good of protection in front of him, so he's just used to just, okay, 3-step drop, get the ball out. He doesn't move out of the pocket, so he doesn't create more time for himself to look downfield if he has to. So yeah, I keep hearing like, maybe the Vikings will bring him back and draft a quarterback. No, I don't even want, if they get a raw quarterback in the draft, I don't want him to come back. Plus, he's not going to be cheap. He's not waiving his no trade clause, so he's not looking to do the Vikings any favors.
And the reason he's not, so a lot of people have said, well, he's got 2 kids there and he wants them to finish school.
Everybody has kids in the NFL.
The reason he's not going to waive his no trade clause is
His value
because
would
he
go.
will lose all
Yeah.
value
Yeah.
in the offseason because training for a quarterback usually does not work. Actually, it's never worked mid-season. Like the Vikings got a lot out of Sam Bradford. They still went, what was it, 8-8 that year because the offensive line was trash. Like that was a failure. You
He
know,
did good.
I
They went
think that
5-0 to
yeah.
start with.
Yeah, I think the Packers also had a trade in like the 70s where they traded for a quarterback in the middle of the season. I mean,
Yeah,
you
he
have to
did.
learn systems. And
He did
I
terrible.
mean, we saw during
Carson Palmer too.
quarterback when he's like memorizing the plays, like he had all that trouble memorizing plays until Nick Mullins is like, well, why don't you try recording them? Like
Well,
that
that's
would be a
why
2 or 3 week process just to
that's
break him
why
in.
I think I said on either last episode or a couple episodes ago, like I could only see him getting traded if a team like the Niners or the Dolphins lose their quarterback for like the rest of the season because he's familiar with those systems, he's familiar with those coaches, and he, I think though, and I think Peter King actually mentioned it in his column that he came out with today that if Tua got hurt, he could see Kirk Cousins possibly waiving his no trade clause to go to Miami to help them win. Oh man, can you imagine Kirk Cousins and Tyreek Hill on the same team? Oh my god.
Yeah, you check it down to Alec Ingold.
Yeah, oh my god.
Tell me when I'm telling lies.
But then the funniest part of the Peter King thing was if Brock Purdy gets hurt, I think they'll just stick with Sam Darnold as their quarterback. And I'm like, of course he would. Of course he would. Of course he would. Because he's got a galaxy brain, everybody, and be like, oh, I got something for you, Sam Darnold. He's a secret weapon. But yeah, Kirk Cousins, I just don't think he's coming back. He's not going to sign a team friendly deal, and if he's not going to do that, then move on. But you know what? Even if he wants to sign a team friendly deal, say no, thank you, move on. Just like what the Raiders just did with Derek Carr or whatever. Not that he wanted to go back, but just say thanks, but no thanks, Kirk. We're taking a different direction, and you're not part of it. Okay. Good luck in the future. Come back. Maybe we'll pretend like you're gonna go in the Ring of Honor, and we'll have that like Kyle Rudolph ceremony that he got for no reason. And then we'll talk later. So yeah, just get out of here. Get him out of here.
So we got at least, what is it? 17 minus 6, 11 games of the Kirk Cousins era to go. We might have a shorter wait for some other Vikings right now because the Athletics' Diana Rossini said on Saturday the Vikings are strongly considering being sellers at the deadline. I would hope yesterday's game did not sway that.
It helps Danielle Hunter.
Yes, it helps Danielle Hunter a lot. Danielle Hunter helps Danielle Hunter a lot because he now has 8 sacks on the year. He's a very logical trade chip, of course. Let's throw a curveball at you. How much do you think the Vikings could get for Danielle Hunter right now?
I did listen to Purple Daily before this, and I think Judd threw out like a second, but it's a conditional first. Like if he gets so many sacks or whatever, or his team wins a playoff game or whatever, then it turns into a first. I don't know if they could get that. I think it would depend on like a team. I'm trying to think. Like if it was the Browns and Myles Garrett went out, I think they might be willing to give up a pick like that because of how important Myles Garrett is to their defense. They do have Darius Smith though. That defense though, by the way, they're very good over there in Cleveland. PJ Walker, he threw 2 interceptions yesterday, and it didn't matter at all. Yeah, I would say at best a second round pick. I don't know if I agree with the conditional thing. I think he's too. He doesn't have. If he had more years on his contract, like if he had like 2 or 3 years left on his deal, I think then yeah. But there's no guarantee that he stays with whatever team trades for him. So why would a team give up a first round pick for a guy who's going to leave in 2 or 3 months? That's not a smart thing to do. I'm trying to think of teams that could trade for him. So I said the Browns, just any really contending team that either thinks they need a pass rusher or loses a pass rusher. I think I've been seeing that the Raiders want to trade for a pass rusher because they lost Chandler Jones to I don't even know. So they're looking for someone to team up with Max Crosby. But yeah, Danielle Hunter. That's your top chip. That you need to see what you can get for him, and if you're Kwesi, like it's gonna be difficult to maybe move on from him. But if there was ever a defense that can still generate pressure without Danielle Hunter on their roster, it would be a Brian Flores defense because of the way that he blitzes so much. So I think that they have to seriously consider moving on from Danielle Hunter if they get a legitimate offer for him.
And I don't think he's coming back. Like
No.
I just don't think he's not like a guy that's like
He can get more money
Anthony
elsewhere
Barr
anyways.
or Eric Kendricks. Right. Well, and that's part of it. I mean, the whole thing since he signed that bad contract, it was like he kept knocking on the door, being like, "Can I get like 20 more bucks? Can I like?" He's like that friend in college who just kept taking your money and never paying you back. This is an interesting parallel, but everybody talks about Bradley Chubb.
Yeah.
Chubb was traded from the Broncos to the Dolphins in a package that included a 2023 first round pick. Denver also sent a 2024 fourth round pick, running back Chase Edmonds, for Chubb, and a 2025 fifth rounder. So this article is really weird written, but go get a first round pick because you have holes everywhere.
They signed him to an extension, signed him like right after
big
that,
ass extension too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think Jacksonville would probably be like, all right, you want your first, whatever.
I keep hearing that, but they have a bunch of picks tied up into like the Calvin Ridley situation where they can't send any. I think the best they can send right now until that gets sorted out is a third round pick. So I mean, if that's the best you can get, then fine, then take that. I wouldn't take anything lower than a third, but if you're being offered a third for Danielle Hunter, yeah, I would take that. You don't have anywhere close to a complete roster right now. You really need to go the Rick Spielman route and try and just rack up probably as many draft picks as you can, to just build depth, get young guys in there, get them experience, whether they're going to play next year or not. Just get them in there. And just get as many new faces, guys that you want on your that'll follow your philosophies or whatever. Get them in there because they have a lot of holes and they need cap space and they need draft picks to fill those. So if they can get something of value instead of nothing, like you said, because you think Danielle Hunter is going to walk, is if you can get something of value, a third round pick, which you can find an edge rusher in the third round, no big deal. Then they have to do that. They have to.
And that's the other part. It's just kind of like, with Danielle, if the Vikings were in a championship window and he was doing this, I'd be like, sign him up. Let's go. Right. Let's go win the Super Bowl with Danielle Hunter. Kwesi talked a lot about, timelines and time horizons, right? I don't think Danielle Hunter fits into the Vikings time horizon now, not after the first 6 games. And I know he's been playing out of his mind. He's been playing great. And I think that's going to be a guy a lot of Viking fans are going to be sad to see go. But I think you absolutely have to, if somebody gives you a legitimate offer, like, I don't know, if it's like a 7th round pick, I just try and re-sign him, I guess, or something.
Yeah, not that.
It's got to be better than a comp pick, right? Because what's the comp formula? Like a third top?
Probably. He's probably get third or fourth at the very least, I feel like.
Yeah. I think you got to do it. Is there anybody else that you're looking at the deadline to move or
whatever? I don't think said Harrison Smith. They're not.
Yeah.
Who's trading for him? I'm sorry.
Unless like Smith goes to them and be like, get me out of here.
Yeah. And I don't think he is. I think he's having fun in this defense.
Yes.
And he likes Minnesota and he took a pay cut to stay here. So I think if
you don't say.
Yeah. Somebody else did. Hey, but the other they're getting lots of opportunities.
Lots of opportunities.
Yeah, Harrison Smith. Now, if someone came along and was like, we'll give you a second for Harrison Smith, you pack Harrison Smith's bags for him and you say, get out of here because we need that second round pick. But they're not getting that. And then same thing with KJ Osborne. I thought that was hilarious that we're getting offers, getting calls about KJ. Who's calling you about KJ Osborne? Like,
yeah.
The Chiefs?
I mean, that's another guy that could probably get you a third round comp.
Are the Chiefs calling you about KJ Osborne because they need someone to catch the ball who's not, dating Taylor Swift?
Dating.
Hey, they were
but
holding.
okay.
They were holding hands. That's the latest report.
They were holding
That's the latest
hands.
report.
Okay.
That's the latest report.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyone else? Ezra Cleveland, but he just got hurt. I've been hearing
Yeah.
that kind of thrown out there that he.
Who's trading for a guard? Like,
Didn't the Browns just
I
lose?
mean,
Didn't the Browns
unless
just lose one or two guards? I feel like if you're a
they
contending
did.
team and you lose a guard, yeah, that's and Ezra Cleveland's playing very well this year according to his PFF metrics. But he just got hurt, and I don't know what the severity is of that yet. So it's something to keep an eye on. But he's in there, and then do you trade Cam Bynum? Like that's a random one because I think he's like the 7th graded safety this year on PFF right now.
Maybe Jordan
Another
Hicks.
reason why Lewis Cine isn't playing. Everyone keeps why isn't Lewis Cine out there? Who are you gonna bench? Who are you gonna bench? Because like
Right.
I know Cam Bynum's not an all pro or whatever, but he's playing pretty well. Yeah, Lewis Cine. He needs a whole podcast. Lewis Cine.
That whole 2022 draft
Listen,
needs
man,
an
I'm
entire
telling you,
podcast.
Quincy got the job. No one ever meant he got the job. And 2 or 3 months later, he has to do a draft with Rick Spielman's old scouting staff. He doesn't really get a whole. Has to like use their old notebooks and stuff and go off of that. But like, I don't know.
It was like you had to go take a test for your friend.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, I gotta get like something on it. Just go do something. And it's like a F.
And he didn't.
But
He probably wasn't able to collaborate with Kevin O'Connell as much as he was last year because O'Connell was getting hired. He was trying to figure out who to add to his staff, trying to figure out how to be a head coach, what he has to do, where he's going to live, all that stuff. And this year, you see, they drafted Jordan Addison. They drafted Mekhi Blackman, who's playing a good amount of snaps on defense this year. Who else? Jaron Hall, who's he's the backup right now, backup quarterback. Dwayne McBride, we don't need to talk about him. Jaquelin Roy, I think he's getting some snaps out there as well. Who's
he was inactive yesterday, but
he's played. Yeah, but he's played this year, and he's played more
yes.
than probably we've seen. And Jay Ward, who's special teams right now. Am I forgetting somebody? Who was 3rd round? Did they have a 3rd round pick? They went Addison, Blackman. No, is that it?
Blackman was their 3rd round pick. They didn't
Oh
have
yeah,
a second
Hawkinson.
because of
You're right.
Hawkinson.
You're right.
So yes.
So I would say that his second year draft is much better than his first year draft. And then, we'll see what happens in year 3 and then take it from there.
So in closing, with all of these rumors going on, what do we got going on at the Viking age right now?
We're sticking, I think we're going to probably do another mock draft because the Vikings are still 2-4 and they still have a top 10 pick if the season ended today. I think I did some dark horse candidates to be the Vikings quarterback next year. If they fall out of, if they're too far back in the draft and they are unable to trade up, some cheap veterans, like a Baker Mayfield or who's the Huntley from the Ravens, just someone in there who can
former Pro Bowler. Yes.
Yes, him and his two touchdown passes, former Pro Bowler. But yeah, some of that stuff, and then I think this week, what do we got? The Niners coming up. We still have an extra day to do some stuff. We'll look at all the rumors and stuff. I think I'm going to look at some possible other teams that want to trade for Danielle Hunter that aren't the Jaguars or whatever. And maybe some other teams that could trade for Harrison Smith. Maybe. But yeah. It's it's good over there. Check us out. But
it's a wild time to be a Viking fan.
It really is. It's a lot of unknowns, I feel like. There's more unknowns this year, I feel like, than maybe even last year when they had a brand new head coach. Just because we really don't know what they want to do. We know what the Wilfs want everyone to do, and that's get back in it. Just get in the dance. Just get in the dance. The fucking Giants fans, the 07 Super Bowl ruined it for the Vikings for the rest of their life. It's like, oh, look at the Giants. They just got in and they beat the undefeated Patriots. Yeah, because Vikings are just like Giants. So yeah. But I'm just I would really like to see them trade somebody at the deadline. I really don't even care if they win their next 2 games and they're 500. They need assets, and they don't have them right now to build the type of team that they want. So they need to make moves while they have the pieces to actually maybe get some stuff. Because if you wait till the offseason, they're going to either leave without nothing or no team's going to want to trade for them because they're going to get somebody in the draft or in free agency. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
And where can people follow you on X?
Straight cash on me. I've also gotten a little more active on Threads, so you can follow me over there on Adam Patrick TVA. It seems to have more like engagement than Twitter recently, which is weird because I think I have like 200 followers on Threads and like 8,000 on Twitter, but it seems to get a similar amount of likes and replies. Maybe my content's just bad, so that could be it too. But yeah, I've been over on Threads. Find me on there, Adam Patrick TVA over there, the Viking Age. But other than that, yeah, just go check out everything. Obviously, check out this podcast on the YouTube page and Apple Podcasts, all that fun stuff. But yeah, 2 and 4. Let's go. Let's get to 3 and 4 so we can go to the 10th pick in the draft.
And you can hear me sarcastically scream, no matter the medium, at the real Chris Schad, Instagram, X, Threads, whatever. If you type in the real Chris Schad, you will see me
Google him.
screaming. Google it. That is all the time we have for the Viking Age podcast today. We do this every Monday and Thursday right here on the Viking Age YouTube channel, but we're also on Apple and Spotify the very next day. So don't forget to rate, comment, share, and subscribe so you never miss a new episode and we can spread the word to the masses. For Adam Patrick, I am Chris Schad. We'll talk to you next time on the Viking Age podcast.